How many in the room have been to one of my talks before about Reef-Safe? God, I promise I'm gonna fix this. Thank you. Thank you. I love the smiling faces. Okay, so this one's going to be just a little bit different. We're going to try to make it a little more of a workshop, a little more interactive. And really, my goal for today is so that you can look at a label and know, is it actually reef safe? Is it marketing fluff? And then how you can take it as dive instructors, dive professionals in the industry, how you can help spread the message and empower other people to be able to make good decisions when we're playing in the water. So, Reef-Safe isn't optional anymore, what every instructor should know about protecting our blue planet. The name of the company is Stream to Sea, because all streams do lead to the sea. It's not just when we're playing in the reefs and hanging out in the coral. This is our blue planet and all water matters. Let's see if I can, okay. My name is Autumn Blum. I'm a cosmetic chemist. Also, like many of you, I still feel really loud. I'm an avid scuba diver. Very proudly inducted to the Women Divers Hall of Fame in 2022. I am a serial entrepreneur that does not know how to use a headset microphone. So I had sold my first skincare company. I did herbal therapeutic skincare for people with sensitive skin, and I was scuba diving in Palau because I didn't have a job anymore. What are you gonna do? I'm diving. And it was a really beautiful reef, healthy coral, vibrant, alive. And coming up to the safety stop, I see a rainbow coming off a group of snorkelers. What is that rainbow? Sunscreen. It was an oil slick, and it was just coming off their bodies on this beautiful water. And it was the first time as a cosmetic chemist that I had really thought about how the ingredients that I had been making, the products that I had been formulating for the last 15 years at that point, could impact not just our body, that's what I'd always paid attention to, but the aquatic environment as well. Reef-Safe wasn't a thing. Nobody's talking about it, wasn't a buzz. I grabbed the nearest bottle of sunscreen, I'm reading the ingredients, and I'm like, oh, good God. There wasn't a health food store in the country that would allow these on their shelves, and here we were putting it into this beautiful water. I look over at my friends, and we're diving, it's on a liveaboard, and they're showering on the back of the dive deck. Voluminous pearlescent suds running right overboard, Nemo's down below, going, dying from this toxicity. It was harder to make a reef-friendly, reef-safe shampoo than it was a sunscreen. Keep that in the back of your mind. It was way harder to make a shampoo that passed our aquatic toxicity trials than it was to make a sunscreen. By the time I came back from that trip, John, my now husband in the back, who was my dive buddy, he was bored the entire trip because I'm writing a business plan. By the time I'd come back, I knew what I was going to spend the rest of my career doing, and that was making products that are safe for you and safe for our blue planet. So my goal today is to share a short history of sunscreen, how it's evolved, define what actually is reef safe, and share that my definition is probably very different from others out there in the world. Talk about some of the science that goes into it, read some of the ingredients. You all have an ingredient to avoid card to make it really easy for you, and how to wade through the murky waters because it is getting harder for the consumer to make good decisions. Harder for them to make good decisions. And then how we can put that into practice in our daily lives as the educators of the sea. So as long as humans have walked this planet, we have had various ways of protecting ourselves from the sun. And it is documented. As long as humans have been documenting practices, we've been protecting ourselves from the sun. Some of the earliest was the Egyptians, and they were actually pioneers. They used to use a combination of mud, jasmine, and rice bran oil, which had a surprisingly high SPF factor, worked pretty well. I put jasmine into some of my products. Is that still okay? Seriously? Okay, I'll stop hyper-focusing on it. In 1938, a Swiss chemist went mountaineering. I could take that call. A Swiss chemist went mountaineering and got horrifically sunburned, came back and invented the first commercial sunscreen on the market today. It was called Glacial Paste. It was the original white zinc sunscreen on the nose. Worked pretty well, but it was zinc and petroleum jelly, so you'd get really bad acne, and you were white. A little bit further on, the chemical revolution is booming. Automobiles, car paint. Car paint is what revolutionized the chemical sunscreen industry. And they were making things like naphthalene, quinine, PABA, benzophenones, which is what we're all against today. Those ingredients were used in the first commercial sunscreens. Copper tone, don't be a pale face, that was their entire marketing ad with a cute kid with a naked butt, was don't have the white sunscreen on your nose. And they were marketing these naphthalene and benzophenone formulas that were quite effective, maybe more so for your car paint than our bodies in my opinion, but they did work. So it's interesting to me that as our sunscreen usage has increased, and we're all told wear sunscreen, wear sunscreen, wear sunscreen. And there's reasons for that, we're gonna get into that a little bit more, but typically as modern medicine, sunscreen is regulated as a drug in the United States, it is considered a medicine. As modern medicine develops cures for a disease, the rate of use increases and the rate of the disease decreases. That has not happened in the case of sunscreen and skin cancer. As the use increases, skin cancer has also increased. Kind of surprising. I mean, there's a lot of social media influencers and people out there saying that sunscreen is the problem. I don't necessarily think sunscreen's a problem, we need to use it, but maybe the way that we're going about it is a little bit wrong. So it brings the question, should I use sunscreen at all? And again, if you jump on TikTok, there's all sorts of conspiracy theorists saying, don't use sunscreen, you don't need it. I will not be the one to say that because skin cancer is the most common malignancy worldwide. Jimmy Buffett recently died of skin cancer. It is a serious thing and it is a serious problem. We do need to be paying attention. 70% increase in new cases. 20% of Americans will have some form of skin cancer before they're 70 years old. Rising incidence. There is a disproportionate impact on African Americans and those with melanin-rich skin. I'm friends with NAB's, National Association of Black Scuba Divers, and quite often will say, hey, I don't wear sunscreen, I don't need it. My friends, you do. Because not only are you getting skin cancer as well, but it's a disproportionate rate of death, basically, of those that are having serious issues because of poor detection. Bob Marley, everybody know how he died? Skin cancer, right? It's harder to detect on melanin-rich skin. So not using sunscreen is not the answer either. There are two types of sunscreens that are commonly used today. You've got the chemical sunscreens and mineral sunscreens. I'm a chemist, I don't really like the designation of the two because everything is a chemical in my opinion, but that is the way that people talk about it. So we've got chemical sunscreens, I like to say the organic chemical sunscreens, and that is what most of us grew up with. They apply like a lotion, you can lather them on freely, they're very inexpensive to manufacture, and they go on nice and clear. They burn your eyes, and they're also very often loaded with endocrine disrupting chemicals, which is what harms the aquatic environment, and in my opinion, harms the body too. You've got the mineral sunscreens, which is typically zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, or a combination of the two of them. All mineral sunscreens aren't created equal either. That's one of the challenges today. They work on top of your body. They do have some absorbency, but typically they work by reflecting the radiation away from your body. So a chemical sunscreen, you have to put it on 15, 30 minutes prior to exposure. Everybody's heard that, right? That's so those chemicals have time to soak into the fatty layers of your skin, where they absorb the radiation, and then convert it to heat, and your body has to deal with it inside your body. A mineral sunscreen, as long as it's non-nano, it works by sitting on top of your skin, reflecting the radiation away from your body. If you're trying to protect yourself from the sun, does that make more sense? Reflection rather than absorption kind of makes sense to me. They are a little bit more expensive, they are much more stable. You have to apply them a little differently. The FDA does not designate between a mineral sunscreen and a chemical sunscreen. So if you read the drug facts panel on the back, it says apply liberally. Has everybody seen the person on the boat that looks like a geisha girl? Yeah, it embarrasses me too. Right, so apply liberally, but it works by reflection instead of absorption. The next question that we get quite often is, oh, but I need an SPF 100 and mineral sunscreens don't come in an SPF 100. That's because you can't get there without using really harsh chemical ingredients. Minerals, zinc, and titanium aren't going to get you to 100. They can get you to a 50, it's not easy. We haven't done it yet. I think our highest so far is an SPF 45. We're still working on it. Why? Because of marketing factor, not because of increase in protection. So an SPF 30 will block 97% of the UVB rays. You have UVA rays, aging, UVB rays, burning, And an SPF 30 will block 97% of the burning rays. An SPF 50 will block less than 1% more than that 30. The key is reapplication. You want to apply your mineral sunscreen before you're exposed to the sun, and then you want to make sure that you're reapplying. You come up from a nice long dive, put on a little more. It's just a good idea. You want to apply before you're burning. Let me go back to that real quick. Everybody understands you cannot block 100%. I mean, shade, UPF protection. We are serious advocates of that as well. We do manufacture sunscreen, however, wear UPF clothing. Seek out shade. Apply sunscreen safe to your exposed skin only. That's the way to do it today. So the truth about Reef-Safe, it is important to understand that it is not a regulated term. There is no one in the world that has a mutually agreed definition of what is Reef-Safe. And my definition is going to be different from Hawaiian Tropics definition, right? There are many labels out there. There are companies that are currently under litigation for saying that they are reef-safe, reef-friendly, and I've heard people say, oh, well, if it's reef-friendly, it's fluff. If it's reef-safe, it's not. Not really, not really. We're starting to change all of our labels to reef-safer. I like to say we're the reef-safest, but what does reef-safe really mean? In my mind, I'm not comfortable with the word reef-safe because we haven't tested on phytoplankton, algae, crustaceans. We have tested on freshwater fish, saltwater fish, coral larvae, C. elegans. As far as I'm aware, we're still the only sunscreen company in the world, at least that publicly shares our data and proving that we've done the science. And I will also say that our first formulas did not pass. I've been formulating natural sunscreens, natural skincare for almost 30 years now. It's kind of hard to say that. And the entire history was making natural formulas. Marketing to Whole Foods, marketing to EcoCert compliance, and all of our original formulas that I made didn't pass the aquatic toxicity testing. So if you don't test, you really don't know. And all mineral sunscreens are not equal, all zincs are not equal. The way that you coat the products, the size of the particle is different, and testing is seriously important. So there are still many sunscreens on the market that contain the ecotoxins, like oxybenzone and octinoxate, that are still saying reef-friendly. That's starting to get a little bit better, but they change. I mean, if you ban oxybenzone and octinoxate and replace it with avobenzone and octocrylene and say it's safe because it doesn't have the banned ingredients, really doesn't work in my world. Sunscreen pollution, I get people saying it is a symptom of unsustainable tourism where you have a lot of people, you do have sunscreen pollution. And in some of my other talks, we go through and talk about some of the most common tourist destinations, and they've actually sampled how much is in the water, and it is environmentally relevant. So if you go to Hawaii, for example, 62 parts per trillion of benzophenone prevents coral larvae from being viable. If the babies can't reproduce, what happens? You get die-off, right? So various places around the world where there's a lot of people, they have proven that there is significantly higher than that minimum dose to do harm. And that's at various times throughout the year. It is where there's a lot of people. It's more than just tourism though. It's more than just people jumping in the water, going snorkeling, going diving. The runoff, we have proven that if you put a chemical sunscreen on your skin, within 30 minutes it's detected in your urine because it works inside your body, right? So runoff, wastewater treatment facilities do not filter out these organic chemicals. A lot of the pollution out there is just coming from our wastewater treatment. The runoff, NOAA estimates that more than 14,000 tons of sunscreen enter our reefs, and that was done 5 years ago. So there's a lot of it out there, beach showers and such. The next question then is, do they really do harm? Again, 62 parts per trillion is the minimum amount that's been shown to actually be harmful. It does bioaccumulate, and they are known endocrine disruptors. So the reason that they harm the coral and the way that it does it, first off, it deforms the larva, prevents it from being reproducible, increases coral bleaching. It works by reducing the temperature that healthy coral is damaged by the increasing temperatures. So we like to say that it actually makes global warming a little bit worse. So if coral can bleach at this temperature, it's exposed to chemical sunscreens, it now can bleach at this temperature. So it makes it a little worse. Impacts of fertility, estrogen mimics. Estrogen mimics is what I like to focus on because that is what makes these ingredients harmful for our bodies as well as every single species that they're exposed to. it's in more than just sunscreens. So there was a French study that showed that more than 80% of the personal care products have endocrine disrupting chemicals inside of them. And that's where I wanted to give everybody one of these ingredient to avoid cards. Shampoo, conditioner, body lotion, your sunscreen, your facial care, your makeup. Flip it over, read that ingredient list. If it has any of those ingredients on there, just know that it could be either an eco-hazard, a health hazard. Either way, you probably don't want to repurchase it. There's plenty of good options out there. Read your ingredient labels. I don't know if you can see this down here. The way estrogen works in a fish and an alligator and a frog is no different. Also in a human and in a coral. So endocrine disruptors are the problem. What else is an endocrine disruptor? BPA in plastics, fertilizers, perfumes, UV filters. The rest of the world is starting to pay attention. There's been a lot of sunscreen bans around the world. There's new ones happening every day. Roatan is talking about it. Aruba is starting to enforce theirs. The Virgin Islands, Key West. We're not going to get rid of these ingredients, but knowledge is power. If you're going to be near the water, don't be using these ingredients. So, how many of you have told your students about sunscreen's potential impacts to the waters? Love ya, love ya. It's a real easy question, a real easy dialogue to have. There's just no need. It's along with plastic straws and all of these other small steps that the individual can make to improve our impact on the environment. It's all cumulative. And if you're selling a dive trip to somebody, we're going to be talking about this in the art of the upsale. If you're selling a dive trip or you're bringing somebody on board, you're going through your briefing, it's real easy to say, hey, we're going to be in a marine protected area or a marine sensitive area. What sunscreen are you using today? And they'll be like, oh, I didn't even think about it. I got this one. Or they may know. But if they don't, it's 30 seconds and it does make a difference. So from our side, I said reefs, we are transitioning to Reef-Safer. I think I've been talking too much. We are transitioning to Reef-Safer, which explains our commitment to full transparency. This is a little bit different out there. I love that Reef-Safe is becoming a buzz, and I am so offended by the mineral sunscreens out there that in their inactive ingredients are including these ingredients as well. So we are committing to be transparent. We share our data, we share our science, and we're encouraging other companies to do the same, do better. I mean, we're a tiny company in the scheme of things. If we can do the testing, so can they. Share the data, ask. The consumer drives the change. We'll just move from some of that. So we have any of you seen our product Coral Care? Cool. I'm going to share a real quick video on that one. I'm still really proud of this. We just launched it last year. We had somebody come up to us almost 2 years ago now and say, hey, we did a survey of all the sunscreens in the world, and you have the Reef-Safest out there. Yeah, cool, awesome. I said, can you make something that's reef positive? I don't know, I think so, maybe. Good trial, it'd be a great goal. So I reached out to a lot of coral scientists and I said, how do you make the coral fragments strong? You know, you're doing outplanting if you've got it in the lab. How do you fortify? And they shared some of the food that they use. And we went back, and the ones that smell like dead fish we got rid of. The ones that didn't, we tried putting in our sunscreen. We sent it off for independent trials and found pretty good results. So I'm going to share a real quick little video with you because it explains it better than I do.
When we talk about threats to our oceans and marine life, we often forget one of the most deadly: tourists.
Lawmakers passed a bill Tuesday banning sunscreens that contain two specific chemicals that are believed to cause harm to marine life and coral reefs.
Every year, over 14,000 tons of sunscreen wash off us and into the sea, with over 80% of brands containing chemicals that are lethal for coral reefs. While some have removed chemicals from their sunscreens, Stream to Sea wanted to do more. So what if we turned the source of this invisible problem into the solution? Introducing Coral Care. In a world first, we partnered with leading marine and cosmetic technicians to create a sunscreen that's not only safe for coral, it actually feeds it. To a base formula that excluded all harmful ingredients and passed extensive aquatic testing, we also added a unique blend of marine nutrients proven to nourish coral and went into 6 months of coral testing. We discovered that Coral Care can boost healthy coral growth 50% more than the world's leading Reef-Safe sunscreens, and an incredible 21% more than Mother Nature alone. To take this initiative to the world, we also created a whole new classification. Not just SPF, but RPF, a way of identifying sunscreen that truly cares for coral, and a mark that hopefully someday all sunscreens will have to carry. At launch, with product sampling, social media activity, and global PR, we saw an incredible response.
When I first heard about coral care, I got really excited about how something could be changed from a negative to a positive.
Coral Care is now going global, partnering with government and tourism companies to help turn the tide on coral's future.
The world needs more concepts and products like Coral Care.
Coral Care with RPF, the little tube of sunscreen with enormous potential for change.
There we go. Pretty cool, right? We were all blown away by the results of that one. If you look at the picture here, let's see if I get this little pointer guy to work. This was the control fragment, and this was third party. I didn't know University of Derby, they didn't, Derby. If you're British, that's very critical. It's spelled Derby in my defense, Derby. University of Derby. So I didn't know who they were, they didn't know us. It was completely blind, and the results were pretty exciting. But this is the control, which was just salt water, same tank, same structure. And then the sunscreen control, this was actually our original water sport formula, so just full disclosure. There was no necrosis, but it definitely slowed down the growth in a high concentration. Low dose of Coral Care increased that coral growth significantly. I mean, similar size fragment, look at that. And then when it was given what we thought would be up to a toxic dose, it still had significant increase in growth. Not quite as much as the low dose, but when we basically dumped a lot of sunscreen in the tank, it was pretty exciting. We were expecting to see necrosis at that level, and there was still positive growth. So it is possible, and yet another way that we can minimize our impact and actually turn, as Michael Sweet said, a negative into a positive. So we're trying to do that with more products. Wouldn't it be cool if we could add those nutrients like our mass defog? Like we sell, people say that we're a sunscreen company. I think we're a mass defog company. I've said that a few times this weekend. So what in your bag can be swapped for a safer product? Defog is one thing that people ask me about all the time. They're like, yeah, I use baby shampoo. I'm like, well, have you read those ingredients, man? Some baby shampoos are just fine. You read the ingredients, they're okay. A whole lot of them aren't. Look at those inactive ingredients. Look at the inactives. What else in our dive bag that we could pay attention to? Or maybe not even in our dive bag, in our shower. Because again, they're not filtered out by wastewater runoff. Already talked about defog. So, yeah, defog. Here we're gonna look at some of the other products that are on the market and how do you wade through it? How do you look at it? Somebody brings it and says, yeah, I'm good, I've got the right sunscreen. It's okay. So on the front of this product, this was one that I found at a market in the Virgin Islands. And on the front it says biodegradable, and it had a nice little flower. That says reef friendly on there. And if you read the back, it says octocrylene. Instead of saying oxybenzone, which people now know is a bad ingredient, it says benzophenone 3. Anybody know what benzophenone 3 is? Oxybenzone. It's oxybenzone. Come on, guys. Okay, so that one is yeah, we're going that way. Okay. Panama Jacks. Any Panama Jack fans in the room? Don't tell on me. Okay, I'm sure there's something wrong with showing these things. Okay, so this one is an SPF 100, and on the front it said reef friendly on it. And on the back it has 33% chemical UV absorbers. So they replaced oxybenzone. So the reason why this one was reef friendly and marketed big sign above it, said reef friendly, was because it didn't have oxybenzone in it, it had avobenzone. Any other chemists in the room? I can draw the molecular structure for you. They're really similar. Really similar. Okay, pass it down. This is a fun one. Sunbum, very popular. I see this one on the boats quite a bit because it's a zinc oxide formula. The key here is where it says clear formula. If you have clear zinc, it's a nanoparticle. If it's a nanoparticle, it penetrates into the cellular tissues of the coral, of the fish, of anything that has been tested on. And you might as well be using the chemical stuff because it doesn't behave appropriately inside of the environment, inside of the body. It's not natural. And along with that, so they do have zinc oxide in it, they call it a zinc oxide cream, but right along with it, they got 25% of the chemical stuff in it too. Does that annoy anybody else? It annoys me. Thumbs down. This was interesting. This was just a couple nights ago. I was trying to find some other examples, and I Googled Reef-Safe sunscreen, and the second one that came up was Nivea. Nivea's Reef-Safe sunscreen. And on the bottom, I love that they actually defined it for us, because they say here at Nivea, our sunscreens are reef-friendly. It says Reef-Safe here, reef-friendly below. Right? That's confusing. And it says, meaning that they're free from octinoxate and oxybenzone, which are two reef-bleaching chemicals found in some blah, 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 blah. So, innocent until proven guilty, just because an ingredient isn't banned does not mean that it is safe. So, if you look at the inactive ingredients of this one, you see butyl methoxy dibenzoyl methane, and then you see some triazines. These are the ingredients. Has everybody heard of the new Safe Sunscreen Innovation Act that they've passed? And the sole purpose of that is to allow these triazones, triazines, into United States sunscreens. The reason why they're not approved, they've been used in Europe and they've been used in Korea for 25 years now. They have not provided human safety data to prove that they're safe. They say they haven't hurt anybody, but sunscreens are a drug in the United States. You have to actually prove human safety. They're trying to find loopholes so that they don't have to prove human safety because they've been used safely for decades in other countries. They should be fine over here. They're going to be on the market the next year. It's happening. They don't have to call it triazone or this really long name that, as a chemist, I have a hard time pronouncing. They're going to call it parasol. Parasol, like a nice cute little umbrella. Right, so I've been looking pretty hard for the last few years to find any human safety data, any ecotox data, and I can't find it. So they're saying it's a safer ingredient. The reason why they're saying it's safer, and this is the whole Korean sunscreen thing that everybody's talking about. The Koreans have such better sunscreens than we do. Well, they're very aesthetically pleasing. I've looked at a few of them, washed my hands off immediately, but it's a very large molecule. So the argument is that it's not going to penetrate into our bloodstream. You won't detect it in the urine. They didn't do the studies to show that that happens. But theoretically, it's a large molecule and it won't pass into the body. Theoretically, it's a large molecule. Maybe it won't pass into the coral either. I'd love to see some studies. I have not seen them. So, chemicals, a lot of the, maybe. Let's see. This is, I want to give you a few examples, something that is easier to read. Okay, so on ours, this is one of our examples. What you want to look for. And I'm not saying we're the only good products out there. I've seen some decent ones on the market. I would like to see these decent ones do some toxicity testing because again, all zincs aren't created equal. But what you want to look for is active ingredients up here, 20% zinc oxide, cool. We go a little further to say that it's non-nano. You should see non-nano on the label, either in the active ingredients or down here, you should see the words non-nano if it's mineral sunscreen, and it's safe. What's the difference there? It's a larger particle size. You may have to work a little bit harder to get it to rub in. It's usually not clear. It may be sheer. You know, it should look good. If you put this product onto the most melanin-rich skin, you can tell they've got sunscreen on, but it doesn't look stupid. They don't look silly. So it is possible, and technology is getting better. It's allowing us to make more aesthetically pleasing formulas, but it is there. So if you see the words clear, that means that it uses nanoparticles. It can even go further as to, it can say non-nano clear zinc, and what that is, it's a Dow chemical product where they take the nanoparticles, so zinc oxide's a really large crystalline molecule, and they break it down into these nanoparticles, which make them more aesthetically pleasing, and less whitening on the skin. So they break them down to the nanos, and they agglomerate them together into like this larger buckyball type thing with the nanoparticles. If you look at that under a scanning electron microscope, keep this thing away from that microphone. If you look at it under a scanning electron microscope, what you see are all the little nanoparticles mushed together. How do you unmush them? Well, saline, salt, ionization, salt from your skin, or salt or chlorine in the environment will both break them back down to their components, which is why they always fail the aquatic toxicity testing. I would love to use clear zinc. We won't use it because it fails aquatic toxicity testing. So non-nano, you don't want to see the words clear. Sheer is okay, you don't want to see clear. Coral Care, this is my favorite. Coral Care, this one, it's hard to read. It says non-nano titanium dioxide. That's another good one. I love titanium dioxide in sunscreens because it is the most stable element out there, right? It's the reason why they use it in prosthetics, they use it in dental implants, because it doesn't change the environment. Zinc actually is quite reactive. Zinc is much harder to make stable than titanium. If you take a beaker with a bunch of zinc in it, you can watch, and put a pH strobe in it, you can watch the pH range drop very rapidly over time. So the zinc that we have is specially coated and specially formed. It's a different particle size, flattened, not reduced, it's flattened. And that allows the pH not to change, magic. But anyway, so non-nano. So when you're using a mineral sunscreen, you don't want to have the Isha girl on the boat. It feels like you're being punked when it happens to me. And it always does. They take that big old glob and smear it all over. I'm like, oh, good God. All right, anyway, less is more. You do still have to get it on. Every so often you'll hear somebody say, oh, I used the mineral sunscreen, it didn't work. Well, you put on so little, or you rubbed it so much that it's basically gone. You still have to get it on your skin. But the best way to apply it is in dots. I heard yesterday in my booth somebody saying, oh yeah, I connect the dots. I tell people they dot it on and then they rub to connect the dots. It's a great way to do it. What you don't want to do is a big old glob, put it in one place, and then expect it to blend and smear, because it doesn't. It's basically chalk in a lotion formula that we're trying to get to move around your body. So dot it around, less is more. If you're a little bit white, just rock it, man. Especially if you're on the boat, just rock it now. You don't have to be white. So when I first launched Stream to Sea, my background is natural products cosmetic chemist. My market was the health food industry. I'm a diver. I just kind of figured, I'll share some with my dive friends. It's not really the market though. I'm gonna sell it to the health food stores. Well, we sell this much to the health food stores. The dive industry is my place. Why? Because we are the educators of the sea. We are the voice of the ocean. We do see the change. We look under the water. We know what's happening. And every little thing that we can do to improve our underwater environment, we get it. So you have the ability to educate your people. This is just another piece of your toolbox that I hope that you will be using to say, we can do better. You don't have to choose between using a sunscreen or protecting the environment. You can do both. It's not that challenging. I would appreciate if you would integrate some of the Reef-Safer guidance into your curriculum. It doesn't have to be brand recommending. Of course, I always appreciate it, but the key is making sure that people are using products that are safe for their body. We do need to protect ourselves from the sun, and safe for the environment. Some of the things that we can offer you, these ingredient to avoid cards, everybody should have one of those. We can give these to you with your logos on them. You can download them all the time, have them available. We'll send them by the 100 if you just ask. Training materials, we have dive brief cards. It's really easy to include in your dive briefing. What else can we do? What can we do together?
Can I chime in
Please,
for a second?
please.
Okay, so AV guy, training director, right? So as now he's training director, Autumn and her husband and her company are incredible to us. Every leadership kit from skin diver out goes out with at least one Stream to Sea product in it, sunscreen, and we're hoping that they're going to put some of the fabulous leave-in conditioner that all the girls at now. He said if I don't get her to do it, they're going to kill me. So as your training director, here's my question.
Yes.
Can we get a copy of that video to put in our e-learning?
Can you get a copy of
the video you showed us
Yes.
to put in e-learning?
Yes, please. Can I take this thing off?
Yeah,
Freaks
take it
me
off.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Can we also get you to create a content for a sidebar in our books and also in the e-learning?
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to.
Yes. Can we get an insert?
He's taking notes. I love this.
I am. Yeah. Can we get an insert on the basics, do's and don'ts, and things like that?
Yeah.
To put in every kit that goes out. Okay, not product, but I'd also like to get a sidebar to put it in our student logbooks.
I love this.
We should also, if we can get some of this information that we can pop up in the NOWI app, that I could hit it and say, hey, I'm buying sunscreen, what do I look for? And then can we get we don't have your brain to go to every instructor, but can we get a copy of this or a presentation like it to go into our instructor training outline?
I love every single thing you just said, and I have some members of my team here who are taking notes too.
Great.
But I'm taking a sticky note. But yes, absolutely. So another thing that we do have, if you don't sell product and you do want to get some referral, because we need to make a living, we have a phenomenal Wave Maker Ambassador trip affiliate program. So if you're sending out information ahead of time saying, bring this, pack this, whatever, do that, at the bottom you can include a note that says, please make sure to only use Reef-Safe products. This is one brand that we recommend. If they click on that link, and I mean, if you have a dive center, please send them to your place. If you go to our website, if you click on the shop, before you hit that, it has a store locator, and we try to send them to local. A lot of people are going to jump on Amazon, they're going to buy it online, they're going to bring it ahead of time. One of the problems that I hear from the boats is that I'm not getting to them before they're walking on the boat. This is a way to alleviate that, and we do give referral commission on that. So we try to send them over to you. If they don't go to you and they want to buy online, you can get 20% on every purchase they make on our site, because we want to support you too. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Alex. I run a women's travel company. I am one of the wave makers as well. First, I want to say thank you so much. I love this presentation, and in a world that like always asks us to compromise, I'm so inspired by
Thank you.
how compromising you are. We do send out packing lists for all our trips, and we have. Thank you. We do send out packing lists ahead of time with affiliate links for all the stream to see products that we love. We also do amenity baskets on our boat, which are super popular. We have like full-size versions of all our favorite products. Oh, I see Amber, who was just on one of our trips, so she got to see that. And then after the trip, when people have like tried them and fallen in love with them, we send out our discount code that's part of the Wave Maker. And we've, I think I've seen many of our guests get addicted to stream to see products as a result, so I think it does work.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, like I said, do come with it because we include the link ahead of time. But as you were talking today, it kind of made me think, should we take it a step further and do Hawaii style and say reef damaging products are banned on our trips? But I'm wondering how you could execute that, like what ingredients, without saying legally you have to bring stream to see on this boat, which I wouldn't mind doing, but if we were going to use a less branded version of that, like what would be the products that we say you can't bring these on a Wonder Woman retreat?
I think I would, fantastic question, thank you, and I appreciate you every day. Also wanted to thank Nowie. Thank you. I should have started with that. Thank you, Nowie, for the opportunity and for the partnership.
Thank you.
Should have started with that. Absolutely.
All you guys.
So I would start with that ingredient to avoid card. I would say these are some ingredients that have been shown to be harmful to the environment. Please don't bring any of these products with you. If you need help, let me know. You can offer a shopping guide. There's plenty of options out there. But please don't bring these ingredients. That would be a wonderful step. Policing it is really hard. So Hawaii has implemented the bans. The Virgin Islands have implemented the bans. Palau is the best. Bless them. Stream to Sea was born in Palau, and they banned all of the things on that card. There's no policing. There's no real way to do it. I will say the majority of the people want to do better. If you're diving, if you're a diver, come on, we want to protect the waters. It's just ignorance is bliss. What you don't know, you can't share, you can't do anything about. So just including that knowledge in your briefing, including it in the training guides, it doesn't take much. It's like, oh, I mean, I'm a cosmetic chemist. I've been formulating these products for 15 years before I even thought about how it might impact our environment. You don't read safety data sheets. They don't teach you that when you're learning cosmetic chemistry. You don't look at the safety side, the ecotox side. You look at how it interacts in our bodies. I was educated and I didn't think about it until it was in my face. So just including the information alone, we're making change out there. So this is our 10th year. When I started Stream to Sea in 2014, when I was diving in Palau, nobody was talking about Reef-Safe. It was not a thing. There was a little trickle. There was one brand talking about it that had parabens, benzophenones, all the nasty things in the products. They're not here anymore. But it wasn't a thing. But if you look at it today, go walk on the shelves, even in Publix. It's a thing. People are thinking about it. They want to do better. We just need to make it easier for them to wade beyond the marketing stuff that's on the front of the bottle, learn to read the ingredients. We're doing it with our food. People are more, I mean, how many people read the packaged food that we try not to buy? We read the ingredients. It's the same thing with our skincare. We manufacture all of our products in our facility in Central Florida, less than 2 hours from here. So we are an FDA regulated facility. I did not want to be an FDA regulated facility. when I started the company, I'm gonna be like everybody else. The majority of the sunscreen is manufactured in this country in 5 different facilities around the country. They make more than 80% of the sunscreens. I'm gonna be one of them. I'm gonna make these beautiful products. I'm gonna have them do the manufacturing. I'm gonna go diving. It's gonna be great. I failed aquatic toxicity again. Wait, what is going on here? Cross-contamination is a real thing, and it is big. So you know when you buy a candy bar or you buy like a protein bar and you read the back of it and it says maybe manufactured in a facility that contains peanuts? It should be the same thing with our skincare. Because when I had my products manufactured in another facility and we did the chemical analysis, there were parabens in there. Like, wait, there's no parabens in my formula. No, but it was there, and it was in enough concentrations along with the benzophenones. They were both detected in my original products because of cross-contamination of the facility. So I either give up or we make a manufacturing facility. So we make all our own stuff, and it keeps me off the dive boats more than I want to. But we maybe. Let's see. This is, I want to give you a few examples of something that is easier to read. Okay, so on ours, this is one of our examples. What you want to look for. And I'm not saying we're the only good products out there. I've seen some decent ones on the market. I would like to see these decent ones do some toxicity testing because again, all zincs aren't created equal. But what you want to look for is active ingredients up here, 20% zinc oxide, cool. We go a little further to say that it's non-nano. You should see non-nano. Still get to go on occasion, but it is a real thing. And we can all do better. So we just don't let those things into our building. There's no cross-contamination because it doesn't get through our doors, period. Yes, ma'am?
Is there any app out there that I can scan sunscreens and it would tell me that it's Reef-Safe? Or any sort of developing one?
So the question is there an app out there that will tell you if a product is reef-safe? There are 2 apps that I know of. One of them is EWG Skin Deep, which is pretty decent, but it is a little bit of a pay-to-play, which whenever it's a pay-to-play, I tend to question. I will say I pay to play. But it's so it's better than nothing. The next one that is doing pretty good, in my opinion, is that Yucca app. That one's pretty decent. It's not totally accurate. So when we scanned one of our formulas, it came up like with a 1 or a 2, which was really good. And then we scanned another product that was the same variation of it. It came up like a 7. But we reached out to them. It took about 6 weeks, and they fixed it. So it was just ingredient information was wrong. So that's the best one that I know of today. I wouldn't create one, but I would certainly love to help somebody else create one. Thank you for coming, sir. I would love to help somebody else do it. I don't want to police other people's products because I think it's a conflict, and I want other people to do better. So if there's any data creation people, I'd love to help them. Any other questions, friends?
I have one.
I love the dialogues. Yes, ma'am.
You said something a while ago about oxybenzone and how there was a product that had taken that out but labeled it as another benzone.
Yes.
So are all benzones bad? Because I've never heard of the
Yeah.
new one that you said.
So there was the question is, are all benzones bad? Has everybody heard sodium lauryl sulfate? Like you don't want to use sodium lauryl sulfate in your shampoos anymore? I've had people come up and say, oh, sodium. Well, I see sodium in your formula, so that's bad because I can't use sodium lauryl sulfate. That's not the way it works. But are all benzos or phenones bad? Benzophenone in sunscreen is bad news. There's oxybenzone, there's avobenzone, and both of them have aquatic toxicity, serious aquatic toxicity associated with them. Oxybenzone is the trade name, or the common INCI. It's International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients. So to use benzophenone 3 is actually against the international laws. But if people are looking for oxybenzone, if you can call it something else, triazinone, triazine, and call it parasol, it's kind of the same thing. It is hard for the consumer to make good choices today. We have to be more educated than we really should be. I feel bad. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a scuba diver. I'm also from the Society of the Humane World now. And I'm kind of in a tight spot because you need to test.
Yes.
And
I love this
also want to be cruelty free.
Yes.
So you can't necessarily be on a lot of these, sites. Like I go to Leap and Bunny when I
Yes.
go to buy my products, and you can't
Right.
necessarily be on these sites. So I kind of feel like you need to be on these yourself, kind of niched in there because you have to have, unfortunately,
Testing.
testing
Right.
to get a responsible way because, unfortunately, no one's done this before.
Right.
I mean, because animal testing unfortunately has been done. We understand this, we've done it, unfortunately, so it's been done.
I've
So
taken a lot of heat on this one.
We've done this,
Yeah.
so that's already out of the way.
Right.
Whereas now,
Mhm.
this is all new.
It's getting better, and the raw material suppliers are doing more of the testing, which if the raw material tests, you still can't qualify for Leaping Bunny.
Correct.
Right, but that's a 3-year instead of a 7-year.
Yes.
So back in 1998, I was in a room with Burt's Bees,
Yeah.
Badger, all of the original pioneers in the natural products industry, and we were discussing the Leaping
Right.
Bunny standard and
Yep.
how to create this, because you're right, we don't need to test on animals, we don't need to test on bunnies to know if something's gonna burn our eyes.
Yep.
I don't need to test on a animal to know if something's gonna harm a child's skin. How do you know about fish and coral?
You don't.
You don't. There's no history out there, which is why I sat there, and when I came up with the idea for Stream to Sea, it was pretty hardcore, because I am animal rights advocate as well. There is no need to test on animals, but here I am saying, how do I know if something's going to be safe for fish or coral without doing the toxicity studies? We started with C. elegans, any aquatic or everybody. We started with C. elegans, which is a really like a nematode. It's this really basic. I'm sure you could explain it better than I can, but it bioluminesces when it's exposed to something that's considered toxic or harmful to it. So we were able to quickly scan our ingredients and figure out what it was that was causing us to fail the toxicity testing. I would love to see, so have you heard of the HETCAM study?
Yeah.
HETCAM, that's an eye irritancy in a petri dish. There's still some controversy because it comes from eggs, but it doesn't come from chicks, it comes from eggs. And that is a way that we can tell if something is going to be irritating to the eye without testing on rabbits. There is nothing like that yet for coral or for fish, but they are working on it. And as soon as they do, sign me up. I mean, that will be fantastic. It's not there yet. We're not testing all of our formulas anymore. We're using the ingredients for this exact reason. We're using the ingredients that we've already proven are safe in our new formulas. The zinc that we're using, I wouldn't use zinc for the first 6 years of the business. Titanium dioxide is the basis of white paint. It's a little hard to make something that's really aesthetically pleasing using just titanium dioxide. I wanted to use zinc. And I would go to the sunscreen symposium and we would ask all the suppliers, they all have signs up saying Reef-Safe, Reef-Safe, Reef-Safe. Why? How? What have you done? How do you know that it's safe? And they would all say, next person, please. Right? Just don't talk to this girl. She's a lunatic. I went to one booth finally after several years and he's like, oh yeah, we just finished a full panel, and he handed me this data book. And I had questions and he says, here's the name of our lab. I'll sign anything you want. You can ask him anything that you need. So that's our partners. That's the zinc that we work with today. It's still the only one that I've found, but we don't have to test the finished product because we have some of that data behind us now. I would still love to do more, but you can't ship to California anymore if you do animal testing. You can't ship to New Jersey. You can't ship to Washington. Part of me loves it, the other part hates it. But I'm with you 1,000%. I don't know how to do better. Our first show, Jana Wiggins, Captain Paul Watson, what's his organization? Thank you, Sea Shepherd. 6 of them came up into my booth, like ready to murder me. Like, you're trying to make this eco-friendly product and you've done all of this testing, shame on you. He's one of our advocates. He wrote a testimonial about us once he listened to the reason why. What if we hadn't done this testing? And I'm standing here 10 years later saying, yes, these products are reef safe, but really they would kill every fish in the tank. That would just be awful. So I agree with you, and I thank you for the question, and I appreciate the dialogue. It's important. We all need to do better, and that's one way that we can.
Hey, Autumn, can I
Yes.
get everybody to follow you over next door if you, because keep answering
No,
questions?
no,
And
I
I gotta
think
get the
we're-
room ready for the next
Yes,
table,
everybody
so.
can come to my booth if you have more questions. I love it. Thank you, guys. I should have stopped talking
All
earlier.
right,
and had
I'm not
dialogue.
trying to give you the hook.
No,
it's
we're
just-
great. We're great. This is good. Thank you, friends. If you have more questions, please come by 1560 something. It's the orange carpet.
1567.
1567. Thank you.